it's Sheryl from Tutoring with Sheryl, and I have my good friends, trusted colleagues here, Tina McMillan from Atypical Tutors and Kylie Larsen from 4011 Learning. How is everybody?
Great.
Great.
Fantastic.
Super. It's so good to have you guys here. Now, we're just going to do a quick introduction after I talk about our topic so that everybody knows who we are and what we do. We are today talking about the top 5 summer reading resources for children to keep the learning going over the summer. We want your kids to continue to learn. And of course, they can always work with us, but a lot of parents want those quick tips and tricks to keep the kids inspired about learning so there's not that summer doldrum time or summer learning loss. And so that was really the inspiration because this is the week where everybody should now technically be out of school. So the kids are at home and you're scratching your head going, what am I going to do with these kids? We have solutions for you. If this is the first time you've ever come here, my name is Sheryl Uehling. I am the founder of Tutoring with Sheryl. I specifically work with students who are struggling readers and writers. My students suffer from ADHD, dyslexia. Some of them are on the autism spectrum, but they all come with a specific learning need, whether they're just really beginning readers and writers or older. They're in junior high or high school. I'm working with kids across the spectrum, and I even just had my first adult learner inquire about getting services. So I was super excited, and I'm going to follow up, and maybe I'll have my first adult learner. So I usually start with Tina, but I'm going to start with Kylie. Kylie, can you do a quick introduction so everybody knows who you are and what you do?
Sure, absolutely. My name is Kylie Larsen. I am a veteran teacher in North Carolina, and I serve students of quite a large range in age and ability, also in the areas of reading and writing. And I also have a passion for what I call just general student success skills, but how we learn, how we remember, how we take notes, study, test taking, all of those things. And so I have a company called 4011 Learning. We are a team of tutors. We can serve pre-K through 12th grade and beyond in all core academic areas, as well as we have added American Sign Language and Spanish to our services.
That is wonderful. Congratulations. And you've really grown that here within the last year. So I just love seeing your progress, and I'm so proud of you. So keep up the good work.
Thank you. I am absolutely committed and enjoy it. This does not feel like work at all to me. It really takes me back to my passion for teaching because I have so much freedom and ability to do what I know is best for students and families.
I love that. I love that. And being a former teacher as well, I know that feeling of like, oh, you're still doing what you love. But we don't want to forget about Tina. And Tina, you need to take a moment to introduce yourself. Tell us who you are and what you do.
Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you happen to be when you're watching this. I'm in the morning. I think everyone else is in the afternoon. My company is called Atypical Tutors. I created it. There's definitely a growing need to help struggling learners, and I specifically work just the same with Sheryl with kiddos that have the autism, ADHD, and dyslexia, and any combination of those, which is quite common, and help them with their behavioral challenges too, because when they're struggling, they're not able to learn. So I kind of help them with strategies to help them get through their day at school and at home. Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. And at the end, we'll have all of our websites and contact information. But our goal today is to really get parents kind of knowing some resources that they have in their backyard. And, we are all just a click away as well, but these are things that you can literally take your kids to. So we're going to start with the local public library programs. Now, in my area, most of the summer learning programs are already started, but it's not too late to get your kids signed up. And I think the reason I felt like this was number one was this was something super simple that you can do. It's already created for you. You take your child into the library, you sign them up, you say, we want to be part of the summer learning program, whatever that looks like for that community. And it is going to incentivize the volume of reading and activities that your kids are going to be doing in person with other kids or on their own at your house. And typically these are like thematic. Okay. So like one of our local libraries is doing something on dinosaurs. Another one is doing something on like just nature, being outside animals, things like that. So it's a great tie-in for like nonfiction, because a lot of us spend our time reading fiction books and sharing fiction books. And so science and history, nature, and building that background knowledge that our kids need in order to do their reading, writing, science, math, all of that. What are either one of your experiences with local library programs during the summer, or things that you're reminded of that local programming does for student learners? Either one of you can start.
Sure. I know that in our community, and I think you alluded to this earlier, they also have weekly events tied into their summer reading program. So they'll have guest speakers or fun activities that the kids can come and join in on. They don't have to, but it is a nice part of it that keeps you going consistently, and just kind of being a part of something other than a piece of paper to track what you read. So I really love that component to it. Also, some communities might have local nonprofits that do activities. We have a athlete that is from our local area, and he also has a literacy nonprofit, and so he's at the local mall on a monthly basis, also doing reading programs. So
Where would, if a family was in your area and they were searching that out, is that something that they find on Facebook? Do they have to Google it? Like, where would they come across those additional programs that might be outside of local libraries?
So he's definitely on Facebook, but I think the main thing to do would be a Google search, a
Okay.
simple Google search for reading or literacy resources near me or in my area.
I love that. I love that.
Mhm.
Tina, what is your experience in Canada? Because we're in the States. Is it similar? Is it different? What are like past experiences that your kids had, or any other insight into local library programming that maybe we didn't hit just through this short little conversation?
For sure. Well, first we have to take off our mittens because it's very cold up here. So it's easier to read without your mittens on. And the next thing, what I've always enjoyed about going to the library, even taking my kids, and my kids are, in their 30s now, was the idea that you could go there and they would bring in storytellers to not only just read their own books that they read, but read other ones in such a way that it's so entertaining that it really draws the kids in and makes them part of a story. And there's a lot of studies and research that shows that we learn better when we're told a story about something, as opposed to just memorization. We just can remember things better. Like even going to the store, what do I need to get? Well, you can think of the 5 things you need, write a story about how they're connected. You will remember those 5 things. Guaranteed. So that's what I really love about the local libraries, and it's free. You can go there whenever you want. You can meet your friends there. You can meet for something, go to something afterwards and talk about what you guys did. We have a playground at our library too, so they can actually go outside and be part of nature as well. It's very cool.
I love that. I love that. I was at the library 2 weeks ago picking up books for my students. I like to come with books to share, and I talk about different books and give examples of things. And when I was there was probably, I don't know, 50 kids in the library, which is shocking to me, because usually when I go to the library, it's like all the older people sitting there reading their newspapers, or there could be a book club in the corner or whatever. And you don't, unless you go during story time, you don't really see that. So I think it is a big draw for kids. And it's, again, something easy that even the daycare provider can take them to. So get your kids signed up for your local library. Now we're going to go to number 2, and we're going to talk about audiobooks and read alouds. And the one thing that I ran across recently at the larger library that I go to is the Libby app. But there's 2 apps that here in the States are really common. They're called Hoopla or Libby, and this slide compares them. So while you guys are sharing about audio apps that you're familiar with, I'll come back to this in a minute, but let's start with Tina. Outside of a free app through your library like Libby app or Hoopla, which I'll dive into in just a minute, what is another app that you're maybe familiar with that I don't have on the slide that would be something that's either free or low cost that you're aware of, or a way that you can support students through your tutoring that could act like an app?
Oh, for sure. There's lots of websites that I use that have access to that. They have a free site. You can do a pay site, whichever you like. Not a huge difference in paying. You just have fewer ads. You have to deal with fewer distractions for the kids because they'll be just like looking at that. Oh, that's a new cool thing in the middle of a story. You're like, oh, trying to reel them back in, you know? So anyway, I find ReadWorks. I love that app because there's so many stories you can download, fiction, nonfiction, by grade, by topic. The older kids, I asked them to pick a topic, and we research something and discover something they wouldn't even know existed. And we learn more about something that they're interested in, which is half the battle, is getting them to be interested in what you're talking about. I like that one. ReadWorks. I love Room Recess. I love that one. Same kind of thing. They're a little bit more limited in terms of how many stories they offer, but still, it's a great place. They have vocabulary related to the story. They have questions. You can do some comprehension, that sort of thing. Another resource I use a lot is Super Teachers. I don't know if you guys know of that one. So many stories in there and so many resources for all subjects. It's an incredible resource and really well thought out, designed by teachers for teachers. So I really love that one.
Those are awesome. Kylie, when we're talking about audiobooks or read alouds, is there an app that you feel like that we haven't mentioned so far, or ways that you use apps that will help support fluency, comprehension, or any of the subjects that you offer through your tutoring?
Okay, sure. Yeah. So I use Kindle books during tutoring from my own account. And I am pretty sure that there are some that come with a reading function so that you can listen to the audio and it will read it for you. Storyline Online is a great free site. It's actually actors and actresses that are reading books. So it doesn't necessarily show the text of the book, but it's still, the stories are great. Also, and you actually shared this, so you might be able to tell the name of it, but there was something you shared once that you could do maybe through Google that would read text on a screen, like if you found something on a website.
Yes,
it's called
it is called Read Along. And
okay,
it is, okay, I'm just pulling it up right now. So it's at readalong.google.com, and it will pull up books that will actually listen to your child read, and then it will prompt them if they get stuck. And so I actually have it up right now, right here. And you can just pop in there and you can just grab a book and you can just read along with it. So we'll save that for another day, or I'll try to I can't remember if I shared that just in my group of tutors or if I made a video for it. So maybe I'll have to make another video for it. But yeah, so there's a lot of really cool things that are out there, and most of them are free. But the one that I wanted to share with you here is the audiobooks through Hoopla or Libby app. And this is so simple to do. You just take your library card, which I happen to have right here, my library card, proof that I have a library card, and you put your number that's on the back into it with your PIN, and most of the time it's usually like the last 4 digits of your phone number, and then you just get this little app that shows up. And Libby is in coordination with something called Overdrive, and it's what they use through the public library to share digital resources. And if you've been looking at this while we were talking, you can see that Libby might have a wait time to get a resource, but Hoopla, you can always access this information for free. But what you're going to get is things like ebooks, audiobooks, and magazines. Hoopla has a few more options. On the Libby app, you can actually store them in your Kindle app. So if you're doing a meeting online, or if you're a parent who's got the Kindle app on your phone or your tablet, you can just pull that up. And I did find out that there's some parental controls so they won't look at the stuff that you don't want them to look at, because sometimes you think it's a good book and it's really not appropriate for your child. And the returns are automatic after 2 weeks. Now, the way I'm using this with my students is if I know that they're reading a book, I just did this last night. I popped into Libby. She was reading this book and I said, well, let's see if there's an audiobook, because I knew she was struggling with her comprehension. And she can read fine, but she can't always remember it. But what we found is if she's reading it and I'm reading it out loud, she can remember it. So I'm like, well, let's just see if we can get a copy of this. And so I shared this with the families. I created a YouTube. I popped it over on YouTube, and you can see it right. Let's see if we can share that right here. So that is the recording that's over there on how to use the app for students. And so that is over there, and you can watch it. It's like 6 minutes, and it will take you through the whole recording on how to set it up and how to use it. So it's definitely something that I think parents would really utilize. And then I put it out on Facebook. I said, hey, here's this app. Go check it out. And I had people responding already who said, yeah, I have that downloaded and I listen to it while I'm traveling. So it's great for audiobooks, but you can download digital books. I still really like to have the actual book, and I think it's what is best for kids. But as far as supporting a struggling reader with dyslexia or ADHD, it's great to have that as an option. All right, so that was our second thing. Let's go to our third thing. We'll move this right along. Reading Rockets. Reading Rockets is a free website that supports both teachers and parents using evidence-based strategies to support struggling readers and writers. But the reason I grabbed this is because it's got the Start with a Book program. Okay, and I'm just going to pop that open so we can take a quick picture of it. And it will give you things that you can explore after school or summer learning. And it gives you all kinds of topics that you can go into: science and nature, math, social studies, arts and literature. And you can just click on one. Let's come down here to folktales, fairy tales, and myths. And when you open it up, it's just going to, this is for the parents, give you things that you can do and book titles that will support that. Now, outside of this app, how have you guys encouraged parents to use nature, science, math, or whatever to kind of keep the learning going, whether it was through Reading Rockets, or maybe another resource, or maybe you just have some other ideas that could be incorporated with that?
So I have a summer learning toolkit that I created, and it includes 50 no prep, no cost things that you can do just in your everyday life during the summer to incorporate learning. So if you like, I can send that link to you, and you can put it in the description.
I would actually love that. Do you have that on your website?
On my Facebook page, I believe, where the links are in bio, that you can go and sign up for the toolkit there.
All right, I'm going to look that up here real quick and see if I can't share that screen here.
But I can give some examples of fractions, like cooking is a great opportunity to work on things like fractions, doubling or halving a recipe based on your needs, and it's also problem solving. Depending on the age of the child would dictate kind of what you do, but during the summer we're traveling often. We're walking through maybe towns that we aren't normally in, and you might see those historical marquees, or you're at a park and there's the information boards there. All ways to kind of sneak in a little reading and learning while you're doing something you normally do during the summer anyway.
I love that.
Car ride conversations. Having kids just converse with you is so powerful in building their comprehension and their writing skills. So I have a rule, like, we're not having any technology or movies in the car until we've talked for 10 minutes or we've played a game or something.
I love that. Tina, I would love to hear from you about any additional ideas about, like, using science, nature, any summer learning things that you've incorporated, any resources that you have that you would like me to try to pull up and share.
Yeah, I've done a couple things. Sometimes with middle to bit older students, I've done geocaching with them in the summertime. I don't know if you guys know what that is, where you can go log onto a site. You don't always have to pay for it. There's a paid version as well, but there's free sites, and people have hidden things in a certain location, and you have to use your phone like a compass, and you have to try to find your way to discover it. And you can also leave things in there too. And I just find they really love that. It's like a treasure hunt. And then you can kind of do an offshoot of that and do a scavenger hunt. You have a list of things that you would typically find outside wherever you're going. Specifically, maybe we have a place called Heritage Park here where it's like an old-fashioned town that's been recreated. So there's so many things you can put on your scavenger hunt specific to that location. And that's what they have to look for. So they're not just on their device or saying, oh, I'm bored or whatever, that kind of thing. So, and then you have a reward. Whoever finds the items on the scavenger hunt first maybe gets an ice cream or gets to buy something, or you know what I mean? You know, you can make it fun and cater to that child and what they really like.
I forgot about the geocaching. You and I had talked about that at another time. Maybe it was when we did our recording was that a year or so ago, where we were talking about, the top things that you can do with your kids over the summer. I'll try to link that as well, but I love the geocaching. That's great. That's fun. I totally forgot about that. That's awesome. Okay, so we are down to number 4 on our list of 5 things. And if you've got a young learner who's just learning to read, I think it's really important to help build confidence with decodable text. And what that means is it's a text that's based off of the skills that they've already learned. So the syllables that they're learning, whether they're short, long, whatever it happens to be, and you're just kind of building. And so I have 3 sites here that I want to share quickly. But before I get into those sites, and my picture is really large and I covered up some of the stuff here, so really sorry about that. I didn't catch that.
Oops, that's okay.
But would either one of you want to talk about decodable texts and how you use them to keep the learning going with your students?
I can
Tina?
start.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry, my mind just went blank. Go ahead.
You're good. You're good. So I work with a lot of older struggling readers, and it can really get to a guess fest with them when they encounter a word that they don't know. And so texts that are created for their age group are often too high of a level for them to be able to read. And so I was looking at phonic books, and they have something called catch-up readers. And so these are kind of like what you would call a high-low text, like a high interest text for an older reader, but maybe lower level skills that allows them to practice those decoding skills and not have a guess fest while they are reading.
That is great. If you have a link for that, if you want to share it with me, I can definitely put it in the notes in the description of this video, because I'm not really familiar with that. But I also know that, there's all kinds of things that you can use with AI where you can highlight a text and then say, turn this into decodable text. But that would be something that would be a little bit more challenging. The 3 resources that I have here are actually just click and go. But before I get there, Tina, is there anything that you want to add before, or do you want to wait until after I share?
Yeah, I think I'll wait and just case you might say the same thing. Go ahead.
Yeah, sure. Absolutely. So these are 3 that I've used kind of on and off. The one that I use most often in my own practices with my early readers is Flyleaf Publishing. And Flyleaf Publishing is free. Okay, so that's a nice part. You can actually go, well, hopefully everything's going to work here. You can actually go and purchase things. You can shop and quote, but guess what? Here's the free part. If you come up here under community, you can go to their ebook library. Oh, there's a little tip for you. And you can see all of the free resources. And these are actually, they start out with just like, I am Sam. That's what they're literally reading. And then as you go on and you continue to go down the list, the books get more and more challenging until they get into like a poetry anthology or nonfiction books. And so these are just great for just the grab and go. Again, I still really like the actual book, but if you're looking for decodable books that your child should be able to read, these are great. So I'll just grab Dot Likes to Dig or whatever this one happens to be, and you can just flash it up on your screen, and you can make it full screen and flip through it. And before you even start, by the way, I should mention that you can come back here and you can check out the word list before you start and practice the words before you start, and then you can read it to your child first, and then they can go through and they can then read it back to you, or however you want to to utilize this. It's just a great resource. Now I got to figure out how to make my screen small again so I can exit out of this one. Ooh, got to click the right button and not like lose us. Okay. Okay, now I'm going to come back over here to phonics books, and this is another free resource that you can use. Okay, and when you come, it's just phonics, it's phonicbooks.com. So I was correct. It is phonicbooks.com. I did have that right the first time. And you can come in here and there's all kinds of articles that you can read. But what I like the most are the free resources at the bottom. And so these are printable things that you can utilize. You can sign up for updates. That's completely free. And then you can learn something about the alphabet code and consonant digraphs and all the words that teacher talk that you're going to hear all the time, but you don't know what they're talking about. There you go. And I try to avoid that when I'm talking to parents because it's like when you go to see the doctor and they're using doctor talk. I'm just going to talk to my parents like, well, these are words that your child can sound out. Keep it nice and easy. And this picture is driving me crazy, but I'm not in editing form. But okay, we're going to go to Half Pint Readers now. And Half Pint Readers is taking a second to load. Here we go. And down here, if you go down a little bit, they've got leveled books. They've got different activities that you're going to find in here. But let's go down a little bit further and let's go to the Fin and Nip. Okay, and I'll share this tab. And it's going to download the book. And these actually make a sound when you turn them. And their words are at the beginning. So that's a nice little, it's a little change from the other one. And the color illustrations are super cute. And you can go through, again, read the book with them, have them read it on their own. But again, this is just another free website, which I think is absolutely phenomenal. Let's see if I can figure out how to get out of that. I'm going to go back up here to the home page. And there are some activities with reading games, coloring pages, and different things. So these are just kind of like games that you can do with your child, but there are printable activities that go with some of the stories as well. So you can just dive into it and kind of check some of those activities out on your own. So if we're looking for things that are like super easy to use, here you go. And so that made our list. Okay, I'm going to come back over to this page. And Tina, would you like to add any information about decodables and how you could use them, or any maybe non-decodables and why it's important not to stay in a decodable book all the time?
Right. Yeah, it's good to give them more exposure and increase their vocabulary and then build their confidence too. That always goes with it as well. I like using, it's not exclusively for decodables, but there's education.com. I really like that site too, because it expands like a lot of age range. So you can go from really young to, I think, middle school might be the highest. I don't know if it goes as high as high school, but that is kind of the formative range. So it's kind of sad if you're working with a high school student and they don't have those skills yet at that point. That's tricky. But so we want to get them as early as possible, for the best benefit for them. But I find it covers that middle ground really well. It has so many great resources, and you can go on to different subjects. There's so many topics, covers, like I said, a bunch of different subjects. I really love that site too. So. Yeah.
That's awesome. I mean, and there's so many I could have put on here. It's just incredible because there really is a lot of free things that you can do. And then the last one that I'm going to share with you, actually, it works in conjunction with a curriculum that I use for my really early readers, which is the YouFly Foundations. And this is just a great curriculum. But I included the game link. Okay. And the reason I chose the game link is you can come in here. These are digital games, okay? And you can play tic-tac-toe. You can play, I don't know if that one's bingo, roll and read. You can do just flashcards. You can do 4 in a row, a race game, a spiral game, an ups and down game. And I'm just going to grab the race game here really quickly and show parents how this works. So you can create your own custom word list if you'd like, or you can choose words from the YouFly Foundation. So if, let's say, your child's reading a book and you want them to work on some of the vocabulary words that they're running across, you can keep a list and add them. It's super simple to do. But I'm just going to come in here to the YouFly words. And let's say I had a student that was working on lesson 72. So I might want to load eind, ild, old, olt, and ost words, which are irregular, some of the irregular words. Or I might want to come and grab that sh and j words and just have some irregular words in there and push finish. It loads them onto these cards over here. Again, it's a 2-person game, but you could play 2 teams if you wanted to. If you're sitting at home, you simply click to roll the dice, the word comes up, they decode it, they go their 4 spots, and then follow the board around. And I find that this is highly motivating for kids, and it's something that I can quickly pull up during a lesson to either start the lesson, in the middle of the lesson, at the end of the lesson, and we're still using our time working on literacy skills. So there's a lot of free games out there. Now, I can't remember if it was Kylie or Tina, but one of you mentioned Room Recess, and I don't have that on here, but I will quickly pull that up. Would either one of you like to speak about Room Recess?
Sure. Oh, I love Room Recess because I do a lot of the typing games that are on there too, because I have some kiddos that, because I teach typing as well and keyboarding, so that they sometimes they get to a certain level in the typing club website, so that they have to type as a minimum number of words before they can move on to the next level. And sometimes we stall out, so like, let's go do some games, and then that'll kind of help them in a different way. So it helps them to kind of to scan and to kind of track and sort of a thing. And then I always find when we go back to a different level, they've kind of improved a little bit because it takes a bit of the pressure off. I just love the choices that they have, and
Right.
yeah, I love Room
Yeah,
Recess.
and when you click on this, it actually will load more of the games up.
Yeah.
Kylie, have you used this with any of your students?
Yes, I love Room Recess as well. The only thing I try to make sure is if they have complete choice on the games that they choose, they'll often choose things that are too low for their level. And so you have to kind of watch the level and make sure they're being challenged with what they're working on. Cat
I would
is
agree with
visiting
that.
us today.
I would agree with that. And the featured tool that I use is actually Teach Me Cursive. And I have, because a lot of my 4th, 5th, and 6th graders actually struggle with printing. I'm using the Cursive app on here to teach them how to practice, and they are just starting to really learn how to do that. So that's great. And now that I ordered my glasses online, they're showing up right there. Good thing it wasn't something crazy. Yeah.
Can I mention just one more resource too?
Yes,
It's a paid one, unfortunately, but it's called Switch It. It's made by Reading Simplified, and it's similar to YouFly in terms that it has all the alphabet at the top, and then it comes with a source, like a book that you can use for different levels based on where they're at. Yeah, there we go. And it's almost like a word ladder in a way. So you start off with one word and switch one letter to make the new word, switch another letter to make another word. And they do, I think, 12 in a session. You can modify that to according to how your student, what they can handle. But I find that doing all 12 words has been fine with all of my students. I mean, I haven't had to shorten the list yet, and they really enjoy it. They love it. I mean, sometimes one kiddo, of course, he's a boy. What boy doesn't like to make the word fart? So I try to put in that wherever I can. You know what I mean? Then he just kills himself laughing, and then we just carry on. But
right. So you must have to just click here to get the game. Is that how you get it?
Yeah. Well, okay. I took the online course, and then it came with it. So yeah, I think you can do that as well. I'm not 100% sure because I did it a different way, but it's really cool. I really enjoy it, and I've even found printed resources that are like similar to that. Oh, I'm just going to grab it and show you. Just give me a second.
Okay. Tina's going to go do that. Kylie's dealing with her cat that's coming to the face. It's fine.
If the kids are out of the house, the cat will interrupt me.
That's all right.
I found this book called Making Words, and it actually says grade 3 level. It is not a grade 3 level. It's
will you hold that up one more time?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, it's called Making Words. Okay. And it's very similar to Switch It, but it's just a printed form, and it gives you all the letters you would need at the top to make all the words. And then it has sentences, and when we get to the longer words where you have to use all the letters, what I'll do is we'll decode it, and I'll use a whiteboard and put dashes to represent each letter and tell them if it's consonant or vowel. And they love trying to figure out, where do I put this? And whenever they get one correct, I fill it in. Oh, you got it. And then they figure out, well, what usually goes at the end? If we want to make it plural, what letter will we put on the end? And then they figure that out. And then you can use all the spelling rules, and they love it.
I love that. I love that.
I was going to mention that, some kids really do like hands-on resources. And so I know in my area, like our local Dollar Tree has a great little school section with workbooks, and there's nothing wrong with going and grabbing some workbooks that they can mark up and cut up and work with, and at a low cost.
I love that. We have given our parents more than 5 things. So we want to hear in the
And take it back.
comments.
Take it back.
Yeah, in the comments of this, we want to hear what's working for your child. What did you try? What's working? What didn't work? If it doesn't work, we want to know about that because we don't want to share things that don't work. But we want to encourage you to stay tuned for more from the Student Success Squad. Our contact information is up here. We're all still continuing to accept for summer learning. So make sure that you get on top of that. Don't let your kids slide down the slide. Make them be at the top when the school year starts so that they're ready to go. And we want to really thank you for joining us today. We'd like you to like, share, and comment. Ladies, anything else for the good of the cause?
No, have a fantastic summer, everybody.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for joining us. Thanks so much, you guys. Okay, we'll see you. Bye.